Um, there we have it. Look at that, right on time.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi, Ben. So good to see you.
It's good to finally see you too.
Finally meeting you. Yeah,
You,
it's been
you,
2 emails.
you and I have been emailing for a while, trying to find something
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to work on. And when this came about, normally Elixir and Performer kind of go back and forth on some folks that would make a good interview featured guest on camera. And we both finally were able to agree and get you on here when we're super excited. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, Elixir, for organizing this live stream. It's very excited to be here.
One of the places that we normally start, and I was just giving people joining the stream a little bit of kind of how this will work, is we normally do a little bit of chatting with our featured guest. We normally do a little bit of playing because obviously people don't want to hear me talk so much. They want to hear some really great playing. And then at the end, we'll save a little bit of time for a Q&A if people have questions to ask you. I do have some here on my screen from people who sent in questions over social media. If you want to ask questions, pop them in the comment section below. I'll be monitoring that on a separate screen, so I'll pick and choose kind of the best ones. So at the end, we'll try to ask some really good questions. Now, before we get started, do you prefer Sus or Susanna, or how do you prefer to be addressed?
Sus, definitely. Susana is a no for me.
It's a no. Okay.
If the people that know me, that's like, no, I don't like Susana. I feel you're mad at me or something.
Well, we're definitely not mad at you, so we'll go ahead and call you Sus. And what I think would be a good place to start is to kind of learn a little bit about your musical journey, kind of where you grew up, how you first decided to pick up an instrument, and what some of your earliest influences are, because you have a really cool story.
Yeah, of course. So I am from Medellin, Colombia. For those who don't know, it's in South America. Colombia is a beautiful country. For those who haven't visited or been here, it's an amazing country. I grew up here. I'm 27, so I was born in 95, and I was born here in the city, and there wasn't a lot of big music scene for say here. There wasn't any like guitar player, like female guitar player that I knew here, or pretty much not like a big scene. But I started playing guitar because I saw MTV like everybody else, and I started listening to Blink-182 and Green Day and all of these bands, and I started to get obsessed with the guitar, and I wanted to do that. That kind of started me listening to a lot of punk rock, and then I eventually went to Metallica and Dream Theater and Jamiroquai and more styles, and I kind of like started growing my ear. But I was born in Medellin. I went to college here for music. I studied jazz guitar, which that was like a big thing for me because I didn't want it to be a jazz guitar player, but I always wanted to like learn a lot about theory and kind of like apply everything that I could learn from jazz guitar and harmonically and all the knowledge that you get from that style into other styles that I played. So I kind of started just playing punk rock, to be honest, and then just like I said, like starting listening to more stuff. And I was very obsessed with the guitar. When I was in high school, I would like, all the friends from high school used to say I was crazy because I was not doing anything else, just playing guitar all day. I wouldn't go out. I would just like be obsessed with practicing and getting better. And eventually it got to a point that I kind of wanted to pursue that as a career professionally. I didn't see myself doing anything else. It was just like a big obsession and part of my life, so I kind of want to just go that way. And then I decided to go to college and study music, and kind of eventually, since the beginning, I was like very conscious about I had to find work as a musician. I had to play gigs. I had to go and meet other musicians in order to make a living out of this. Like, it's not enough just go through school and learn all your skills and everything, and then you're like, okay, what else? You're just playing on your bedroom alone. No. So it's very important to network and do all of this stuff. So from the beginning, I was very conscious about that. And then eventually, when I was about to finish my career here, my music major, I said to myself, okay, that's it. Like, I cannot do anything else here in my hometown. Like, this is all I can do.
We will touch upon some of the really cool people that you've played with in a moment, but I wanted to talk about two things. Number one, you were born in '95, which means unfortunately you missed the '94 World Cup team from Colombia and Carlos Valderrama's hair, which was one of the highlights of my childhood.
Yeah.
And two, you said maybe you weren't so into jazz, even though you were majoring in it. But when I listen to you play, especially when you're soloing and you're really ripping it up, there's a lot of really cool technical things that I think you're pulling from jazz. Would you mind maybe just playing a little something for us so that we can hear sort of your fluid style? Because it's really awesome. And I think people in the comments especially want to hear a little playing, if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna noodle around. Is this good volume?
Yeah, we can hear that.
So I pretty much, when I went to school, I got a lot into kind of like, I got very obsessed of knowing every single part of the fretboard. So basically, as a guitar player, you start learning like every single note, where it is, knowing where all your C's are, where all the notes, then knowing every interval, how it starts, how do you start to build up, and like how do you construct a triad, and then you add the 7 chords and then the 9 chords, and you have your arpeggios and you have your scales and all of this stuff. I would like get very obsessed into that, especially with the case system, like trying to understand everywhere where I was playing, like knowing all the scales, knowing all the arpeggios, and kind of like not, I know there's a lot of players that go by ear, but from the beginning I kind of wanted to know where I was at, and kind of like starting to play a lot of, like you said, jazz licks. I got like a lot of the articulations, like stuff like half steps.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing a note, this E, for example, here, I cannot only play the note, I can also like go half step to the note, kind of like slide there. And that's kind of like very jazzy per se, because when you're playing jazz, you're kind of like going around your chord tones.
Yes.
So, for example, I'm in C major. I can also like kind of go around the note and kind of start. So I could only improvise with that. Like if I have a groove, a tempo, for example. So right there, all I was doing, I was only thinking about C major 7, like C, E, G, E notes, notes of the arpeggio. Oh, I did the A there, but I'm just thinking about the notes on the arpeggio, and kind of how can I, only using those notes, create more stuff. So kind of go like what I was saying before, like kind of like getting to note from half step below or half step above, or kind of like doing enclosures and kind of like different things that I'm doing, but at the like it's only C major 7 at the end. So it's like something very simple, and kind of like going from there and kind of like create something bigger out of that. So I think that was very important for me into kind of like going back to the jazz what we were saying about the jazz thing. That was very important, and kind of like also like all the ear training that they give you at school. That's like crazy. Like, I never had a good ear, to be honest, but kind of understanding how every single interval sounds, and like how the different chords sound on each key and stuff like that. That really helped me out to develop a good ear and be able to like learn songs very quickly. And that also helped me a lot. So that was in school, but then when I moved to New York and I started to work at this bar, and that it was like all request songs.
Yeah.
We were playing literally different set every night of songs that I never heard before in my life. And that was such an amazing thing for me, because
that's when the ear training comes in handy,
all
right?
ear training. It was like, okay, what's the key? Okay, C. Okay, then I know all the. So I know I'm in C, so I know all my degrees. Like I know one is major, is two is second, third is second is minor, third is minor, four is major, and stuff like that. And I know everything. Like I it's like I know C major, so immediately I know everywhere in the fretboard where I'm supposed to go or where I'm not supposed to go. So kind of.
Yeah, and I think that's important for people who maybe want to break out of their box. Like if they've hit a rut, I always recommend try jazz training, not because I want you to play jazz necessarily, but because there's so much you can pull from it theory-wise. And like you said, just being able to hop on a stage and play a song you might not even know, because you know your intervals, you know the degrees of the scale, you know the two chords going to be minor, you know what degrees to add on top of that to add tension, you know how to play around the notes in the chord, and those are all really cool concepts that can just add to your musical palette and give you options of things to do.
Yes, definitely. And it's very important for everybody to try to get that very fast. Like no, like what you said, like, okay, so I want to be able to identify like this is a major fifth, and be able to, I'm sorry, I got a flu like a few days ago, so dead, but like be able to sing the intervals, na na, and no, that's a major second, na na, that's a perfect four, na na, a perfect fifth, na na, major six, na na, and be able to like know when you're on a certain part of a song, like what is the degree that's sounding, like in terms of a melody or in terms of a chord. Is it a 2 chord? Is it a 4 chord? Is it a 5 chord? Is it a major or minor chord? Does it have a 7 on it? Does it have a major 7 or is it a dominant chord? Is it a diminished chord? Is it a minor 7 chord? So all of that, like kind of like we're just going very fast through all of these, right? Because I wish we had like 6 hours to get through everything, but all of that stuff I think is very important. You want to make sure when you're going to get a gig, when you get the call, when they call you, that all of this stuff is mechanic, basically. Just like you don't even have to think about that. It's just second nature to you. It's really fast, because that's what makes the difference from other players, and having a good ear and being able to play stuff really quickly. It's gonna be even like on stuff that I do these days on these like big touring gigs with the MDs. Sometimes he's like, oh, I want this line, so he can sing it or play it, and I have to go very fast. I have to have the line and remember it also. That's also very important, the musical memory that you have. Be able to remember stuff for at least like a good amount of time before you internalize it. So it's kind of very important, like all of those elements.
People are asking now if you could talk a little bit about your rig and how you get your sound. Some of the comments are saying that they've listened to your work on video, and you have a very smooth, kind of overdriven sound. I know you probably don't have your full rig there, but could you walk us through maybe just your normal signal path for like a lead tone?
Yeah, so right now, like you said, I don't have my rig.
Right.
I only have this like tiny Black Star amp. That's like a practice amp. I normally use the Kemper. I've been using the Kemper, and I think this is the time, guys. I've been having so many messages about this question. Okay, so I started using the Fractal. Fractal is amazing. First thing I'm gonna say, all of them are amazing.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say the Fractal is bad. I'm not gonna say Helix is bad and Neural. No, everything that's on the market, it's great. Everything works. It's the amount of time you spend with the unit. It's the amount of time you spend getting your tone out of that. I work with the Fractal for many tours with the artists I play, and it was great. I never had, I mean, I had issues, but normal issues that you have with
Everyone's going to have issues with something at some point.
I love the Fractal. It sounded great. Then eventually I tried the Kemper, and I switched to the Kemper because it just felt a little bit more real to me, the amp feel.
Yeah.
And also because I found like I started to use the Kemper, and by that time I was working with the artists, and I knew I was going to need a lot of rentals, like backline rentals, and I know for sure like a backline company, it's gonna more probably have a Kemper than a Fractal. So I thought about that, like being more easier for me, for the backline companies, and also, but I love the tone of the Kemper, and I found all of the effects that it had were enough for me, because I know comparing the Fractal with the Kemper, the Fractal may be wider in specs and in all the effects. And I've been using the Kemper for like, I don't know, like 3 years now or 2 years, and it's been amazing. I've had it on, I use it on Coachella, I use it on MSG, I use it on like the biggest gigs I've had without any problem. I have multiple Kempers, so I back up my presets, my sounds.
Yeah,
and I love the Kemper now because I spend so much time with the Kemper, dialing the sounds that I want and getting the tones and getting the effects that at this point I don't want to do it all again, at least with the artist I'm working out now, that is Karol G. So it just works perfectly for me. I love the tone. But recently, I also got this guy.
What do we got?
If you see it.
Oh, what do we got here?
This is the Neural Quad Cortex.
Very cool. Okay.
And I think this thing is amazing, I have to say. It's great. I love the fact that it's literally the size of an iPad and it's so light. So like, I love that. And also it's just like, when I bought it, I'll be honest, I bought it and I started like going through it, and I said like, okay, this is not enough. Like it didn't have like stuff that I really needed, like the tap tempo on tremolo and tap tempo on some delays and stuff like that. But that time, that was like 2 years ago. And then they kept updating the unit, and it's been great. Like at this point, I'm just missing a couple of things that I already, Neural, please help out. I need a new update with some other stuff. But I've been using it on other gigs for other artists, and it's just great because it's so convenient, sounds great. I even profiled my Kemper's profile. I profiled them with this.
So you're doing
a
profile.
Profile.
Are there any real amps anywhere in your system?
Yeah, I mean, if there's an opportunity, I always prefer a real amp for sure. I don't get me wrong. I know this is just very practical nowadays.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Especially with what I do. Like I do a lot of touring, so I'm going from place to place. So it's impossible first to go with an amp. I cannot fly an amp. It's not gonna happen. Second, if I backline an amp, I don't really know this, like how the amp is. Like
you could end up with who knows what, you know.
It gets horrible. Like you don't really know. So, and also just the fact that I have this unit and it's consistent.
Yeah.
I this unit or I plug the Kemper or I plug the Fractal, everywhere I go, and it just sounds great. It sounds the way I program it. You know, it doesn't change. So for me, that's super important because it's convenient, and also, by the way, engineers, front house people, they just love this stuff because
it's got to be way easier.
No, they're not worried about bleeding or anything. They just like, you get the signal. But recently, I'm gonna go on tour next year with a band, and I'm very excited about that. And I want to try something new, so I'm probably gonna be trying the dry wet 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 dry dry. Sorry, wet dry wet thing, with simulation on the wet and with dry with a real amp. So that's kind of what I want to do next year. And this thing is just, you can do anything with this thing. Is just great. Yeah, so I'm very, very happy with this. But I wanted to do this, sorry that I took the time, because I get so many messages every day of people saying, oh, you switched to the neural, oh, you don't use the Kemper anymore, oh, which one's better, which one should I buy? And I would say, like how I started saying, there's no bad unit at all. They're all great. It's just the time you spend with them, and you gotta see what's better for you. Like, for example, I would use it on different gigs. Like this one, I wouldn't take it to the major artists I work with, Carol G, because it's more, I feel it's a little bit fragile. You know, I feel like if I step very hard on it, it's just gonna break. And I just gotta be more careful. With the Kemper, it's like, it's more heavy, it's heavier, it's bigger, but the good thing is that gig, I don't have to carry stuff, and it's just more convenient for me. For this one, the neural, it would be for me for any other local gig that I have, that I have to carry stuff. I literally just go with my mono case, and I put this on my pack bag, and that's it. Like, it's
Very
so
simple.
convenient. There's no bad, there's no better, or no. It's just try and really spend the time.
I want to do a couple of things here because I don't want to run out of time. Everybody's asking to hear you play more, so we definitely want to do that, and perhaps we'll do this. We'll get you to play a little bit if you just want to rip. Everybody wants to listen to you play, and then we do have some questions coming in, so maybe for the last 5 minutes after you play a little bit, we'll do a short Q&A, and then we'll have you play us out before we say goodbye. Is that okay?
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Cool.
Very cool. And I have to say, this is a very cool looking,
around.
this is a very cool looking Telecaster you've got. Before we get to the Q&As, I'm going to ask my own question.
This is new. This is my new baby. Okay.
Very nice.
So this is from Fender.
Mm-hmm.
The guys from Fender have been great to me. They let me do acoustic guitar with them, and unfortunately, I hope this becomes a signature at some point.
All right, Fender, if you're listening, come on, make it happen, Fender.
Because I have so many people saying, like, I can't find that guitar on the website. I want that guitar. What's that model? And yeah, I'm sorry guys, there's not an actual model of this. I wish there was. This was custom made. I asked for every single part to be very kind of like, I took every single one of my guitars and I said, okay, I like this about this guitar. I like this about this guitar. I like this about this guitar, and kind of did a Frankenstein of that. So the only changes I did to this guitar is that I have the Vega trim here. I don't know if you know about this company. They're based in Spain. It's just great. The feel of the trim and the tuning is just stays on tune all the time. It's great. And I also changed the pickups. These are the Marshall pickups. So I have an Area T in the neck, and 81, I believe it's 81 is the one from Andy Timmons on the bridge. And then I have this push-push system here to make it single and humbucker. Just super versatile. It's a thin line, super light, which I love. And roasted maple, locking tuners. What else do you guys want to know? It's just, for me, it's the perfect guitar. I always wanted a telly with that tremolo. I was always missing that. And then when I got the chance I had my Nash, which was my favorite guitar ever, but it didn't have a tremolo. And then I said, like, okay, let's just try to see if these people from Fender help me out, and they've been super great. I have this one that is all white, and for those who know me, I have exactly the same but black.
I've seen the black one mostly. That's why I asked about this, because people in the comments are like, what model is that? So now you know.
Yeah.
She specs it out herself. It's all custom. You can't buy one yet.
Fender, we want a Sus Vasquez signature guitar.
Write your local Fender representatives. Let them know. So we do have time for probably one question before we leave. So let me pick a good one here. We've talked a lot about you performing live on stage. Obviously, you do a lot of session work as well, but this might be a good question to end on. What's the most nervous you've ever been performing live? Has there been a situation that you can think of that stood out as opposed to any others?
You know, that's so funny, because I don't know why. It's very weird, but since I have memory, my first presentation with the public, I was never scared. I was never afraid of stage. And until this day, I don't get nervous. Maybe if it's something very challenging and something that I'm not completely comfortable playing, or it's something like, oh, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, maybe I'll be like a little bit like, you know, nervous, obviously. But I don't get the normal, like, you know, people sometimes, it's normal to be scared to go in front of a crowd. I don't know why. For me, it's just natural. And it's so crazy, because when people meet me in person, I'm kind of more shy. Like, I have people that I've met on like normal life, you know, and they were like, oh yeah, like, and then they saw me perform and they were like, what? It's like another person. Like, I can't believe you were so shy when I met you, and then you went on stage and it's just like another person. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's part of my personality.
So you just feel really comfortable on. So even like Madison Square Garden doesn't get you nervous?
That one was, no, I didn't know. I was just so excited. I was not scared at all.
Not even playing on TV when you know there's millions of people watching? No. Wow.
Not even on the I think the big one I had is Macy's Parade. Of the Helen show too. Those were like in front of millions, but I was very, very chill, because, you know, the thing is that it's all about what we were talking about. Is being confident enough, like just like putting the time on your instrument, putting the time practicing you get to a point that it's all mechanic. So it's all about just like, you know, like enjoying.
You don't even have to think about it.
And don't think about what people think, you know, like people can, you know, it's all in your head. If you think like, oh, I'm too bad, I'm not good enough, I'm not getting better, it's all here. you know, it's all in your head. So if you're positive, you're, no, I'm getting better, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna be the best. You visualize yourself, I can do this, I can go. It's all about that, you know, it's in your head. So that is very important, trying to like kind of like have a mental state.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And especially someone with your talent, I mean, you know things backwards and forwards. So I'm sure when you hit the stage, you know, there's no doubt in your mind that you're going to perform really well. Sus, I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Elixir and everybody who's been watching the live stream for joining us as our featured guest today. I'd love to have you maybe play a little bit to lead us out, and I will let everybody know that if you missed any portion of this, we'll obviously save it here on the Elixir channel so you can watch it at any time. Sus has provided a lot of really good information and tips, especially for folks perhaps looking to pick up live work and enhance their playing capabilities by incorporating some jazz elements and some theory elements. So if you weren't able to see the whole thing, go back and watch from the beginning. And thank you so much again. Let's have you play us out before we say goodbye, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you everybody that attended. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
You got to use the trem, right, every time. Well, Sus, I wish you could see all the little heart emojis floating up the screen. Everybody is very appreciative of you joining us as our guest today, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again in the future after your next tour and see how everything worked out with some of the new stuff that you're trying.
Thank you, Ben. I would love that.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who joined us. And we'll catch you again next time. And if we don't talk before then, have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, everybody. See you. Happy
Bye, everyone.